By the way, we reset the clock on town hall, like we should have.
Do you have to do it manually?
1 year, no, so what, 1 year, the newspaper Enterprise wanted to take a picture of like some village employee doing something to reset the clock, and I said, I'm sorry, but all we do is shut it off for an hour.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny.
Or 23 hours, depending on the time of year.
Yeah.
Oh, right, the spring forward.
Yeah, if you want to see someone going up there like, spinning the dial or something.
Well,
It's 11, there's no way you can get them, right? It only has to be 11
Yeah.
hours, because there's no
Well,
way. you
you're
can-
right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an old, my father gave me
That's
many
funny.
years ago, an old Seth Thomas clock that you wind with a key. And if you're off, or you have a change like you have to make, you gotta spin it all the way, because you can't go backwards. And yes, I suppose I can shut it off, stop
Right,
the
right.
pendulum, but I'll never come back at the right time.
But
So,
that's what they wanted a picture of. We
That's
do that.
funny.
I think it's really
Anytime you're ready.
Okay. Gonna call meeting to order, if everybody would rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, announcements. Election day is tomorrow. If you don't know your location, you can find that out on the Westchester County Board of Elections website, which actually is in a mayor's letter that just went out today. So if you're looking for a link, you can find it there. Veterans Day services will be Monday, November 11 at 10:45 at Memorial Plaza on Main Street. On Sunday, November 24 at 2 p.m. at Dow's Lane, the Peter Oley Turkey Trot will start. Check over $25,000. Pacific Trans Global Construction Corp. For the theater HVAC contracting. I know they're billing a couple months in arrears, so hopefully we're getting near the end of this. And that this was included in all the comments you made to the newspaper and in the letter that I put out. Let's see. I'm announcing a public hearing requesting the renewal of a special permit, Resolution 2019-38 for adaptive reuse of an historic building. It's the Octagon House, and that will be November 18, 2024 at 7 p.m. at Village Hall.
You could do a motion on that and
Oh,
a
yes.
second vote.
Fine. A motion to hold the public hearing that I just described.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
One announcement I just want to say.
Yeah.
I just wanted, bless you, I wanted to thank Larry and Police Chief Pignatelli for the great job they did on Halloween. I know there were bands all over the village. I was in front of Village Hall. The parking was stopped. Not only was the parking blocked off as they promised, but I could see a bunch of the officers working, making sure people were crossing safely back and forth, making sure that the cars that came through were handled correctly. And it just was like, it was just great to see everything handled so smoothly and so nicely, and we're lucky to have, such a smooth and great and fun Halloween for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you, as somebody who, with my wife, wandered up and down the hill, from band to band, and since the candy's probably not that great for me at this point, it was an amazing event. And absent a few shaving cream cans that I picked up along the way to throw out, it was very well done.
They had shaving cream on the band sign.
Oh, is that true?
I had to clean it off.
Well,
before I pulled
it wasn't hard to find the perpetrator since they were pretty much covered in
Yes.
shaving cream. I hope they had a good time. Okay, correspondence. There is a letter from, let's see if I can get to it here. Shouldn't be too hard, we only have 20 pages or so. Okay, from Charlotte Binns, who introduces us to Julia Steinmetz, a non-practicing attorney and Solarize campaign leader. She's being put forth for the streamlining committee and asked sort of when are we going to do that. My thought is probably in the next month or two, we'll try to get the thing going. There have been a number of other sort of big ticket items that we want to get out of the way, and then we can move forward with that. Let's see here. Next up is Keach Hagee, if I'm pronouncing, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Basically in favor of the dogs on leash in Matheson Park, which I won't belabor this letter. That's only because we've already sort of approved it and asked our rec superintendent to, get things set up and moving, and we'll have more on that presumably by the next meeting in terms of when that can start. Next letter is also from Keach Agee, and every once in a while I get the pleasure of either speaking to or giving a tour to one of the local scout troops or Brownie troops or Girl and Boy Scout troops. And this was thanking me for that tour, but that's not why I included it. There's a couple lines in here that I think that village staff should hear. First, they got the Brownies got the first peek at the refurbished theater. They also got to see the role model of a female police officer from their own community. And it gave them, I'm quoting here, I also think it gave them the lasting understanding of what government really is. A bunch of nice, hardworking people trying to make life better for our whole community, who sometimes catch bank robbers, since that story came up with the police downstairs. About halfway through the tour, this is again a quote, "It occurred to me that everyone in Irvington should get it. I realize you'd get absolutely nothing done if this happened, but we'll do our best to spread the word." And she concludes with a thank you. I can't offer this to everybody in the community, but because I think it is true that nothing would get done. But if there are people that are interested, particularly if they're bringing along a troop of children who can be exposed to the way government functions, I'm happy to do it. So you can keep that in mind. Let's see, next up is a letter from David Tepper. And David and Teresa Tepper. They're objecting to the difficulty of using electric leaf blowers on large properties. As it happens, our Green Policy Task Force is asked to come before us and give us some of what they have found out about people's reactions to the gas-powered leaf blowers. Personally, I'm not inclined to make a change. I understand that there are some difficulties with a large property. They're not, in my opinion, they're not insurmountable. And I am on a woodsy property, so I have to contend with the same issues. But we're going to wait and hear from the Green Policy Task Force on this particular issue, and then we can decide what we want to do about it, if anything. Okay, the next letter writes about a dangerous condition at Ardsley Avenue and Broadway. It refers to an accident, I'm sorry, and this is from Chris Lando. We also got a similar letter from Libby Lando and from Vesko Milushev, who's on the Traffic Calming Committee as well, pointing out, describing an accident that occurred where a car was broadsided and ended up on its side along Broadway, where Ardsley Avenue East intersects Broadway. As it happens, the car ran a stop sign, which is what caused the accident. Having said that, if this indeed is a spot where there are multiple accidents, we're going to take a look at it and see if there's anything that can be done. We, at least on the board, all understand that Broadway is controlled by the state. I did reach out to our state assembly representative to ask for a contact at the DMV, not DMV, DOT, thank you, to see if there's anything they can do. I also had a communication with the police chief, who sent me something that our village attorney had produced previously, pointing out, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going to attempt to paraphrase this. It related to a different road, but that you cannot make changes that benefit particular residents in terms of traffic movement. I think that was the crux of the argument. You don't remember. Well, regardless, I am not giving that as.
Sycamore Lane is what it was, and it was restricting through traffic as well.
Thank you, yeah.
And you pointed out that you could only restrict it, say, in the case of truck traffic, for example.
Correct.
But that you couldn't just simply say
Right, and
no
that there
through
was
traffic.
case law on that.
Right, yeah, so
There
anyway.
are limits to what you can do.
Sure, And having said all that,
Traffic in Village.
Yes.
the chief's gonna do a little more research, and then we will come back and talk to the traffic comment committee and to the local residents, which is basically what I have told them. And we'll see if there's anything we can do, because clearly if you start moving streets, even if we could do this, assuming we could do it in one direction or another, making them one way, you may just create another problem. Okay, this is, now we're up to public comment. Is there anybody on or? No? Okay,
No comments?
all right, then I will assume we can move on. Consent agenda. I just have one question and then I'll make a motion to adopt this. Are the budget, and this is probably for the clerk treasurer, are the budget transfers and modifications a good way to sort of track budget variances?
So it would be a way to track a variance between actual and the original budget, but not variance between adjusted
Got it.
budget and
Okay.
actual.
Part of the reason I asked that, as my children would say, back in the Stone Age when I was first mayor, I started by saying, can somebody tell me where we are against budget at a given point in the year? So I know whether I'm gonna be surprised or pleasantly or unpleasantly. Now, so far you and Larry have a record of surprising people pleasantly in the last couple of years, so there's no real reason to complain here, but if this isn't it, is there another way to sort of see how we are, even if it's internally, against adjusted budget then?
Oh yeah, we have plenty of reports that I could run, on a daily basis. I mean, I do run them monthly. We send them out to the departments on a monthly basis so they could see where they are
Got it.
against the budget. So we do have that
Okay,
information
fine.
readily available.
That's all I needed to know, that's great. Then I will make a motion to adopt the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Bear with me while I find my way to the next thing here. Okay, next up is an appointment to the Architectural Review Board. If there are no questions, I will read the proposed motion. It's resolved to appoint the following as a member of the Architectural Review Board with a term to expire December 2027. Carniche Mossberg, and if I am remembering correctly, I think this person is an alternate now and is being moved up.
Yes.
So they have some exposure to this. And we'll reach out and try to find other folks to put on the alternate list. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up is the adjustment of probationary period for a sergeant in the Irvington Police Department. Normally, we've got up to a year of a probationary period, but we are in the midst of trying to hire, correct me if I foul this up, but we're in the midst of trying to hire another police officer and I don't think we can do that if this person is still on probation, is that correct?
Right, so the empty slot was vacated by this officer when he was promoted to sergeant. In this particular case, the person that we're looking to hire is coming in on a transfer. And the rule is that if they're coming in on a transfer, they can't come into a position that's contingent because of the probation that's in effect.
Got it.
Because if this individual who you're about to, I hope, promote,
Yeah.
end his probation, if this person, say hypothetically, were to fail his probation, he would have to go back to police officer, so that's why it's contingent.
Okay.
And just as a point of record, Sergeant Capadora's probation ends, I don't have the exact date, but it's December of this
Okay.
year. So we're ending it about 6 weeks early.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, then the motion is resolved to end the probationary period of Police Sergeant Anthony Capadora effective November 5, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is appointment to the Enslaved Africans Memorial Project Committee. Before I do that, I think I gotta add a resolution that actually creates the committee. And so I'm gonna read the resolution that I scribbled here, and then we'll do the actual resolution that appoints people.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
We have to create a new committee even though there was an existing one?
It didn't exactly cover what you're gonna wanna cover.
Okay.
So, And I think that was focused mostly on the actual memorial and not on the park.
And it didn't have a definition back then either, like it didn't have a charter,
Yeah.
let's say. It was
Okay.
it just had a name and that was it, so
So
this'll.
it's resolved that a committee be formed to advise and support the village regarding the design, plans, let's see if I can, and construction of a park at the northeast corner of South Buckout Street and Station Road, which park will contain a memorial to enslaved African Americans. And I can give you this if you
Yes,
need it,
that's fine.
but good luck trying to read my handwriting, I could barely do
We have
it.
it
Do I
right.
have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now for the appointments. The motion is resolved to appoint the following as members of the Enslaved African Memorial Project Committee for a term to expire December 2025. Sarah Cox, Larry Lonkey, thank you, Larry. Teresa Foster, Stephen Friend, Bruce Perez, Ian Goldfield, Ruth Cowan, Keach Heggie, Alice Picone, Julie Brown, Matthias Braun, Marion Hoffman, and Kathy Sears. One question, can we appoint Larry while he's still a trustee, or it doesn't matter, right?
I don't think it matters because
Actually,
he's
it's tomorrow when technically your replacement is.
no, it's actually December 2nd, but.
Well, that's when they're sworn in, but, all right,
Yeah,
fine, I'm not.
no, well,
gonna
that's when
argue
his
that.
term, that's when his
Okay.
term ends.
No problem.
So, I mean, okay, maybe he's technically a trustee liaison right now, but I think
Right,
that's
well, you
for a
could, you
month.
could just
So I-
footnote it that it's effective as of
Yeah.
whatever the date is that he drops off as
That's fine.
trustee.
Yep.
We can assume that's in the resolution. So
I
that's,
don't know, with all this responsibility and the new definition of the committee, I'm not sure I want to do it.
you could have added it while I was reading. I just would have lost my place. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, reports of board, standing committees, and officers. I will add one thing, that Saturday there was a very nice ceremony for the military tribute banners that are going to be going up in the next week or so, I'm assuming. And I'm guessing at the number, it was probably about 100 people that came out, which was surprising to the folks who organized it and to me. Particularly when I had to drive all the way down the hill to find a parking spot and run up. And the banners are really impressive. I think they did a great job, and I think it will be a nice way to remember a lot of the military people who have come out of Irvington. Okay, Larry, trustee O'Brien.
Yes, I have an update from Alan Richardson from the Tree Preservation Committee. He says, we're currently experiencing an autumn drought and our street trees are under stress because of it. In a normal year, we'd stop watering at this time to avoid stimulating new growth that can't survive winter. Unfortunately, this year, trees are suffering from extreme water deficit, so even though they're losing their leaves, they could still benefit from watering, help them prepare and survive until spring. A couple of buckets of fresh water could make a difference between a vibrant tree in spring and one that's struggling to leaf out. If you have a young tree in front of your home or apartment or business, give it a drink once or twice a week up until the point the ground is frozen. Your tree will say thank you next May.
Thank you.
Recreation news, Tuesday, November 5th, 6th through 8th graders will be going to the American Dream Mall. They will spend the day enjoying various activities, unlimited rides at the Nickelodeon Universe amusement park. Thank you to IASC for their generous support to help offset the cost of the trip. Registration has begun for the following winter programs: holiday Lego workshops, art classes, youth soccer clinics, youth basketball, adult dance, meditative drawing, and a special event, the Modern Marionette Company, will perform November 23rd at 4 p.m. Register at register.capturepoint.com, Village of Irvington. Reservations are required for the new pickleball court at Scenic Hudson Park and for the tennis courts at Memorial Park. Online registration only at irvingtonrec.sketa.com. Email mdonardo to create an account. Senior citizen news, The November calendar is available online at irvingtonnewyork.gov/recreation. The annual Thanksgiving luncheon for members will be held on Thursday, November 21st. Contact Senior Citizen Director Joan Armstrong for more information. Nature Center news. Harvard Forest Schoolyard Changing Forest Ecology Program, 9th through 12th grade. Students learn how to implement research-based field studies in the Irvington Woods Park offered during the academic year, meeting on the second and fourth Thursday of each month from 3:30 to 5:30. Register at register.capturepoint.com/Village of Irvington. Marshall Pond Drainage Repair and Cleanup Project was held on Saturday, November 2nd. Eagle Scout candidate and resident Lucien Freed and Troop 55, along with Woods Committee member David Zweibel, worked in the Irvington Woods this past Saturday. They cleared, trimmed, and removed brush to improve drainage. They also addressed some erosion from water damage and cleaned up a section of the ice pond located near Marshall Pond. Planting trees held on Tuesday, November 5th, 10 till 12, 1 till 3. Spend a day in the woods along with the Woods Committee members planting native trees to help rehabilitate the forest. And lastly, Beautification Committee news. The Irvington Beautification Committee is seeking new members to help with seasonal planting and with village greening during the holiday season. If you're interested in joining, please reach out to Superintendent Maureen DePauli at mdepauli@irvingtonnewyork.gov.
Thank you.
Yeah, so since the last meeting, we had the big theater open house on, I guess it was Saturday, October 26th, I think I have the right date. And it was, I was shocked, I got here like 5 minutes after it started, because I was chatting with some people outside. I went up to the theater, and there were like 40 people sitting in the seats, watching, listening to Greg and Jody, the head of the Friends of the Irvington Theater, just talk about the theater. And then as they were leaving, more people were coming in, and I was there for the 2 hours. There was a steady stream of people coming in and out the entire time. A lot of people had never been there before and were suitably impressed. There was a historian there who was like asking questions about stuff. Did you ever find out who he was or no?
Yeah, he posted on Twitter, so we figured out.
Oh, okay.
It was all positive. I
Yeah,
mean,
oh, good, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
lots of questions, but whatever he posted was pretty mundane.
That's good, all right, good. And Mary, our representative in the state assembly, Mary Jane Shimsky, was there, and she was very positive about everything that was going on. So it was just a really great event to let people know about the theater and see what it's all about. And it was just great to see people's faces and enjoying it, and to be in the theater and to have it be a functioning HVAC system that you couldn't hear, you barely know it was there, but it was beautiful in the theater. So it was really, really great. The big opening night comedy show at the theater is Saturday, November 9th. Get your tickets. I think tickets are selling really well. And it should be like, it's for New York City comics, people who've been on Letterman and Tonight Show and stuff like that, and NPR. And it's gonna be a really great night, so make sure you get your tickets for that as well. Yeah, and as I always say, look at the library, make sure you subscribe to the library email. There's so many programs going on there, I wouldn't even know where to start listing them, so just take a look for there. I guess that's it.
So I just have a report from DPW. DPW, their complex emissions project, two new windows were installed in the DPW office area. The new break room was framed and sheetrocked. They fabricated and started installation of the tree pit and surrounding sidewalk at 85 Main Street. They're prepared their various trucks for the winter season. The salt spreaders were installed. I'm sure we'll all be happy if we get any snow for that. They assisted the Eagle Scouts with the Marshall Pond project, assisted IPD with the Halloween setup, assisted with the military banner ceremony, and they restriped the Astor Street, Main Street project. That's it for mine.
Okay.
So just one quick item. We'll be putting information out in probably the next couple of days regarding a FEMA grant program that's specifically targeted to people that suffered some form of damage during Hurricane Ida. And these are individuals, not public entities like us. I think there are income limitations attached to the program, but all the information will be put out there, and I have a few people in town who I know I've spoken with over these last several years who were anxious for individual assistance, and it just wasn't forthcoming at the time, but this may help. We'll see. That's it.
Treasurer's report.
I received our final financial statements for the auditor, so I will send those out to the board tomorrow morning, and then I can also put them on the village website under our financial document section. And the auditors are gonna come to the December 16 board meeting to present.
Great, thank you.
Any previews? Did we do okay?
We did good.
Sorry, Larry.
I said good.
I told Katie to do it before December, but she refused. I'm kidding.
We'll send you a preview copy, right?
Did you say Larry's plural?
No, I actually didn't. I was, because it was Larry
The
Longfield
growing
was
came
laughing.
from here, I think, but.
No report.
No report, okay. I guess public comment, if there's anybody, no public comment, okay. Then I move I move we go to executive session regarding 2 personnel matters. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.